your patience. Number 2, anything further? Corey. Okay, anything further beyond number 6 on number 2? BC review number 2. We're going to number 6. Okay, so number 6, then going to number 9. You guys have other questions ready if you need them. Number 6, I would have done Hart method. You could have also done division. Division or Hart method. It is an improper fraction, so you could have divided and then integrated. We've gotten the exact same thing as Hart method. All of a sudden, life just got a whole lot easier. Does that make sense? Yeah. Were you thinking like U sub and then integration on crack? Ooh, yeah. Whenever you have any sort of rational function, so a division, and you have polynomial or even just, any sort of polynomial expressions, it's almost always some sort of long division, some sort of splitting up, some sort of. Number 9 was the next one. I don't know, guys. When I see things like number 9, I always like to attach some sort of function, some sort of formula if possible. So when they said f is a linear function, you could have actually made a line like y equals 2x plus 3 and just seen what happens if you take the second derivative. So if you wanted to, you could have done a specific line just to get an idea. Your f prime would have been a constant, the slope, and your f double prime would have been 0. What if I had changed these parts of my line? Wouldn't you always have f prime being the m and f double prime always being 0? And so I went ahead and made the integral of 0. The integral of 0, think power rule, I suppose. X to the 1 over 1, but that's still going to be 0. All I have is c, and when I do b minus a, it's just c minus c, which is 0. So at the end of the day, the only possible answer for this clue to be true is 0. Yeah. Anything else from BC review number 2, multiple choice? Okay, FR. Oh, sorry, Dylan. 7. 7 you could have done multiple ways. I think we talked about this one a little bit yesterday. 7 multiple ways. One way would have been just to do strict multiply by dx, integrate both sides, making your u equal to cosine, du equal to negative sine dx. You can go ahead and just take the antiderivative. You're going to have a plus c. Plug in your clue for the plus c, and then just plug in when x is 0. That's one way. The way that I ended up doing it, because I think whenever I want a value at, I just think integration is net change. Instead of just doing the antiderivative, I went ahead and did y of 0 equals, so y of b equals y of a, plus the integral from b to a, which I went ahead and switched the bounds. I didn't like pi over 2 to 0. I switched the bounds, made it negative, but when I did my u sub, that negative canceled out. I crossed out my bounds because with u sub, these bounds are technically illegal. They're x's, so I went ahead and integrated, got back in terms of x, then plugged in my bounds, then I went ahead and solved. So you could have done an integration as net change, or you could have done it with antiderivatives. Okay, going to FRQs. FRQ, the first one. We went over this one yesterday, number 3. Was there only one FRQ? Oh, anything on this one? This is the one we didn't get to yesterday. We barely talked about it. Euler's method, 2 equal steps. Alan was asking about A. I remember that. Do we have any further questions, though, or on B or on C? Okay. This one was technically due yesterday. So maybe you guys are all just bored and working on number 3 or 4. But I don't see any other questions. So BC review number 2, Cameron can get it graded, pass it on up. All right, number 3. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. On. Got it. Okay. All right, guys, check in with your groups really quickly. If you need to ask any like concept-y questions, you don't want to ask the whole class, that's totally fine. I'm going to give this to Cameron to grade, and then we'll be back in just 1 second. Catch her up. She'll be all right, yeah? Okay, we're back. BC review number 3. Any questions? 10? That was supposed to be a transition. Oh, well, number 10. You guys be looking if you have one for me to go after that, but for right now, number 10 is where we're focusing. The rate at which the cubed root of x is increasing. So what did I do? I called this guy y equals, so I could say the rate at which he's increasing, I just called him dy dt, is 1 over k times the rate at which x is increasing. Now, some of you guys might have thought dy dx, but as soon as it says x is increasing, I know I need related rates. I need a rate for y, dy dt, a rate for x, dx dt. Think like parametric motion. I'm measuring y's and x's. I have 1 over k times the rate at which I just made myself a little baby equation. Dy dt is equal to 1 over k dx dt. What is the value of k? Well, what can I plug in? Easy. I can take the derivative of this. Bring down the 1/3, make it negative 2/3. That's my dy dt. And in the process of finding dy dt, don't you get a dx dt from u prime, from the derivative of x? So then really all we had to do was go ahead and look up here and say, the rate, find that guy? And don't I have this guy fitting the same pattern? Now they did tell me when x equals 8, so I didn't need to go ahead and plug in 8, but after I go ahead and plug in 8, all I have to do is just 1 over k equal to the 1 over 3 cubed root, that's a 2/3, right? Cubed root of 8 squared, and then solve for k. Does that make sense? So then, guys, hold on. Just a few of you would be like, oh, this is disgusting. Cubed root of 64. Pause. Don't you know the cubed root of 8? 2 and 2 squared. 4. Remember, these powers, you can do them either way. You can do the cubed root of 8 squared, or you can do the cubed root of 8 squared. Not to the 6. Don't do that. 2 squared.
Oh, no, I made 8 2 cubed, and I squared that to 2 6.
Oh. Okay, now I see.
Groups of 3s attached.
Okay. All right, cool, kids. Other questions? Multiple choice, first of all. Alan? All right, what did you guys do for tests as far as for number 8, the convergence? 3, what? What did you do for convergence? Nth term test for which one? It only works on the first one, right? The other two, we know nothing. But the first one, the limit, oh, they're tied. It's 1. Yep, that's not converging. So that's nth term test. For number 3, just because we know that one doesn't. P series, P is equal to 1, right? Or it's a simple harmonic motion, which always diverges. And then going to number 2, you had to see that cosine of pi n is an alternator, right? Cosine of pi n is an alternator, -1 to the n. So since it alternates, then I can go ahead and say, oh, hey, as long as the limit as n goes to 0, as n goes to infinity is 0, booyah, got it, and it's done. Now, question. If they asked, was it absolutely convergent or conditionally convergent? If they asked, is it absolutely convergent or conditionally convergent? Oh, struggle. It is conditional, but why didn't everyone answer that? Hold on. Why is it conditional? Absolute value? It's only converging because of the -1. Otherwise, it'd be 1 over n. It'd be diverging in P-series test, right? So conditional convergence. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
On this 4 packet, number 11 is the same FRQ we did a couple days later.
What? Look at you guys. Less work to do. Are you sure the exact same? Okay. Cool beans. P.S. We're back on number 3. Okay, number 3, other questions? If something is the exact same, you don't have to redo it unless you did something wrong the first time and want to try again, but I don't want you memorizing FRQs. That's not a good idea. What else? Multiple choice questions? FRQ questions? Alan?
11B.
Okay. I'm just looking at the question first of all. They give us rate people entering between 0 and 2. I'm guessing the concert starts at 2? Yeah. Okay, B, find the time, find T, when the rate at which people enter, when R, right, the rate at which people enter, good, is a maximum. Okay. So letter B says, find T for maximum R. Okay. Alan, help me out. If I want to maximize something. If I want to maximize something, what should I be thinking? Critical numbers, good. Critical numbers meaning R prime, right? Because it's critical numbers of whoever I have. So since I want the max of this, critical numbers of this. Cameron's going to go ahead and pass back your old BC review. He's just going to give them at the front of the row. You guys pass them back to who they need to go to. Sound good? Thank you, Cameron. So technically, Alan, it's zeros or DNEs, but in this one, it's a polynomial. There are no DNEs. I'm fine with that. So then you go ahead and calculator permitted. I think you just still have to take it by hand. Just be really careful and don't mess up, yeah? So I have 26, 27, 60. T minus, bring down the 3, 5, and 1, and 2, and 2, and 2, 0, 2, 5. I'm doing it quickly in my head just for sake of time. Did anybody find the critical numbers for B, or Alan, did you find them? T equals 0. And what'd you get?
T equals 1.36296.
At which point, to find the maximum, I mean, it says justify your answer, so we shouldn't just do critical numbers. It's not enough, right? So then you could go ahead and do a sign chart, or you could, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and do the nice, I think it's easier, R double prime of T. Now that we know what T is, we could do R double prime, technically using our calculator if you wanted to use and derive. But we would end up with 2760 minus 5050 T. Plugging in 0, this would be a positive, which positive concave up, that's not going to work. This one, though, plugging in is going to be a negative. So if I have a critical number and R double prime of, let me call this A. I don't think there's an A anywhere in the problem. I'll call him A. Since that is negative, then can't I say by my second derivative test that I have a max? Cool. Any other questions on FRQs or multiple choice before you guys turn into Cameron? Yeah, Alan. Okay. Sorry, this is the rock concert one. Okay. Karen with a C, no idea why. They just decided Karen with a C. Using correct units, explain the meaning of. Now the nice thing is, wait, right away, looking at that formula, what should you guys think? Total distance traveled. Whew, all right, integral of speed, total distance traveled. So couldn't we say that the integral from 0 to 12 in terms of Karen's trip, well, hold on, what's she doing? This is her velocity of biking from home to school. Okay, so she's going from home to school. She's not like going and going back or going somewhere else that we have to worry about. So we can strictly say, oh, cool, it's the total distance that she traveled going from home to school in 0 to 12 minutes. Find the value. Okay, guys, lots of geometry was involved in this problem, right? There was the possibility of a lot of killing of, did I make a big enough deal yesterday when I had to mark this wrong on people's APs? Did I make this deal yesterday, or did I just make it to AB? It's negative 0.3. How many times did I have to do this on people that took the AP? This was the BC class. This was the Saturday. I had to mark this wrong over and over and over and over again. Why did you simplify? What do I tell you to do? Stick it to the man. There is no reason. You should have seen Katrina and Maggie. They were helping me with the AB makeup, the Monday night ones. They were playing with those, and I was doing the BC, and I was like, And then the rest of you guys, there were ones like this that you simplified. And sure, a few of you happened to get it right, but if all your classmates are getting it wrong, the really smart ones, front row, back row, and in between, okay, it's a bummer. And you're throwing away points. If you checked out everything from your checking account, would you walk outside and just start throwing money? No, I hope not. Don't throw away points. So why am I bringing that up? Right? No, pause. Eyes up here still. I'm not done yet. I'm still on my soapbox. Come back. Eyes up here. Everybody. Noah, you too. I said front row people missed it. Coming back. Okay? So, why am I making that point when we're supposed to be finding 0 to 12 of the absolute value of v of t dt? What do you think I'm trying to prove? Don't simplify all of these additions that you're supposed to be doing. Wait, additions, that should be, no, because it's absolute value. So isn't that supposed to be a positive? Yeah. So we do this positive, that's 0. That positive, okay. So how would you guys split this up? I'm guessing triangle, right? Yeah. I'm guessing triangle 2, 2, 2, 2 doubled, right? Because that needs to be a positive because we're flipping that one up. I'm guessing triangle. This is technically what I would probably do. You could do a trapezoid if you want to. I'm just really silly and I just do triangles and rectangles because it's easier. So then, what is my point? My point is when you find the area of this to be 2 times 2 is 4, 4 cut in half. 0.2. Oh, thank you. I'm too busy telling you guys not to simplify than actually doing the problem. So I have... Am I kidding? No, I'm not kidding. Why? I don't want to mark it wrong. And why spend time doing decimal work if you're just going to maybe get it wrong anyway? And there's absolutely no point in simplifying. Unless it really makes it easier. 1/2 times 2. Yes, it's 1, but please don't ever make a mistake. And a lot of you do, as I do. So then we have 1 times, we're going to have 2 of those. So if you see that, that's cool. You're going to have, no, you're not going to have 2 of those. We had 2 of those. We only have 1 of those. So then we're going to have what? A base of 1 times 0.3. Then we're going to have a base of 1 times 0.3. Then we're going to have a base of 1 times 0.2. This is fine? Yes, this is fine. Then we're going to have a base of 1, except it's a triangle. 1/2 times 1 times, and then we have what, 0.1? Then I'm going to have a base of 1, 2, 3, and a height of 0.2. Then I'm going to have a base of 1, but it's a triangle, times 0.2. What should your answer look like? That. I'm not kidding when I say stick it to the man. And for my BC kids to miss multiple simplifying mental math stuff killed me. I'm still breathing, but you should have heard Katrina and Maggie were saying, why are they simplifying? I'm like, why are they simplifying? I shouldn't be doing that in BC. Kills me. I don't want to get all 3s this year. I want to get all 5s this year. Okay. I'm done. Off my soapbox for now. Okay, any more questions? It hasn't stuck all year. I don't know what else to do. Gabby. Okay. Larry? Who's Larry?
That's my cousin.
Aw, I was all excited about Larry. It's this one, right, Gabby? Hey, guys. D was nasty. I mean, if you can stand up and come up here and teach it, that's cool. But otherwise, most of you, D was nasty. John Reeves and I were just doing that at the beginning of class. How long does a person wait in the auditorium for the concert to begin? On average. Okay, your brain. Average. Average rate or average value? Average value of who? Of W, not W prime. If it was average of W prime, it'd be the average value of the rate of the wait time. I don't want the rate of the wait time. I want the average wait time. So I want the average W. So in my formula, I need to plug in the average formula, 1 over b minus a times the integral from a to b of W of t. They've simplified.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
They've simplified. Here's the problem. Who's W? But that wasn't in that thing. I mean, it was the 2 minus t and the r of t whatnot, but how do you actually plug in to solve it? No.
They're using 198 for part A.
Hold on. I didn't solve the whole thing. How many people are in the auditorium when the concert begins? They solved it differently, but it should have been the same answer. What are they doing? They're finding the average rate. They're finding the average rate of wait time. And then they're bringing in, because that would be average rate of wait time. That would be time per person. And then they multiply.
Because they did over 198. 1 over 980.
Wouldn't it be time per person? Or is it person per time? W prime, wait time, W. What I'm asking for is the label of the units of W prime of t. That's what I'm asking for currently. So W is the wait time, so that'd be some sort of time, right? dW dt, wait time per time. Yeah. They multiply by, I see that they're dividing by people. So they're cutting up in the 980, which is the total number of people. Hold on. That was their hint. I didn't realize it was a hint. Consider all the people who enter the auditorium after the doors open. That's the 980. And use the model for total wait time from part C. Is found by adding the time each person waits. The function W models the total wait time. The derivative is given by W prime. W of 2 minus W of... It's the change in wait time. I didn't focus on that, and but they're asking from the beginning of people entering the auditorium, right? 0. Which would be the same thing as the... Here's the struggle. John, what I had you do, which was the integral from 0 to 2 of W of t dt, they're people at all. Does that make sense? It was finding the average time per hour. And the dilemma is, and I didn't realize the units, I wasn't keeping track of everything. So W is time, T is hours, auditorium, P is people. So our expression didn't consider people at all. So usually when you do average value, do 1 over B minus A, which denotes, in a sense, like averaging, you add up all the test scores and you divide by the number of tests. So that B minus A would be dividing by the number that you're trying to portion this out into in increments. The dilemma is our 1 over 2 minus 0 doesn't cut it because our units don't match up as far as t, little t, and P. I don't know what you would call, whatever they called the people. So that's why the 1 over 980, trying to portion it up. And then if the total wait time can be solved for by anti-deriving or integrating, then they were like, oh, well, that's easy. We'll have the total wait time, which is what the integral usually does for us. And then we can go ahead and divide it by the number of people. So they're doing the math of the average value function or the average value equation, but they're doing it in a way that we can consider the people and consider the time. Because if we integrate W, we're actually doing everything with respect to little t, and it messes us up. Because we would have 1 over, think of it this way, the number of hours waiting times the integral of the wait time, which would be the, right, do you see what I mean? The people never gets in there. It's all with respect to the hours. So in order to not have to go, to get rid of hours, I need to go ahead and just use the W's. That way I just have the wait time. I can portion it up by the people. Ugh. They brought in the third variable, and that's what messed us up. Yeah. Here's integrating. You have to do 0 to 2. Well, because the 1 over 980 is what portions that out to the 980 people and averages it. And then the 0 to 2 never goes into the average weighting. It keeps us out of that, which would have gotten us in trouble. Yeah.
When we're done, can I just see the answer key for the second FRQ?
Yeah. Is this the first? This is the second one? Yeah. If anybody else needs a second FRQ. This is the last FRQ too, right, for Karen? Okay. People are checking the second FRQ, but do you guys have any other questions while they check for me to just have ready to go for the multiple choice? Okay. Yeah.
If I say that Larry lived farther, but I didn't say Karen lives.
Yeah.
I said Larry lived farther.
Yeah.
You should be okay.
Okay.
Because it says conclusion. Yeah, you're okay. But you guys know what I'm going to maybe harp on a little bit with that? Whenever you answer a question, what should you always be doing? Well, looking at the wording of the question and stealing it. Like, wasn't that, I don't know, who was talking about yesterday? APLAC, you're supposed to steal the statement and make it your thesis from the question or whatever. Same thing here. You're supposed to steal exactly what they're saying and just use it in your answer. It'll keep you safe. So I'm hoping they would have given it to you. But it's okay. Lesson learned. Maybe you should mark it wrong and be like, come on, just use the question. But hopefully they're able to deduce, but AP graders don't like deducing, so. Well, because they're trained and they're forced not to deduce, but. Oh, on number 4. Yeah. Guys, on number 4, go ahead and everyone turn in that worksheet, and I want you to cross out number 11. Cross out number 11 on number 4, BC review number 4. Number 11 has already been covered, so whew, that makes it a little bit nicer, huh? Okay. We technically have just a few minutes left of class. I don't want to force Cameron to have to like bust out the reviews and whatnot right now. So we're going to turn in, now listen, remind me tomorrow because I didn't remember today. I think we were supposed to do this today. Beginning of class, we're turning in BC review right away. I think that's what we're supposed to do with too. A few of you guys had questions because you were absent, catching up, etc. So BC review number 3, we've gone over the questions. Look at the answer key. If you have any questions, come see me personally. We do have one more group taping today after school, but I think besides that, I've gotten emails from a couple. I've had some of you do it. Most of you have done it in here and just record it. So I think that's our last group, and then we're done, which is perfect timing because then hopefully I'm giving back all the mock APs on Friday, hopefully. Okay, to that end, kiddos, you have 4 minutes. Why don't you work on BC review number 4? You can maybe have some homework done for tonight. First thing tomorrow, remind me, right away, pass in 3, go straight to 4. Sound good? Okay. If you're totally bored, I have 5. Or you can help people around you. But if you want it, go grab it. I don't care. Second line goes through 2 points.